Hari Hare Krishna. Jaya
Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Madhava Radhe Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Sai Gaura Premanande Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakarya Stotra Srata Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinde Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakarya Stotra Srata Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Sai Gaura Premanande All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories Srila Prabhupada Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for coming Bhagavatam class this morning. So today we are reading Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam from 10th canto, 46th chapter, 23rd verse. Your book. Tenth canto, 46th chapter, 23rd verse. So please chant Manye Krishnam cha Ramam cha prapaptau iha surottamo suraman mahad arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapaptau iha sottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapta iha surottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapta iha surottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha. Okay, please chant. Manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapto iha surottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha. Manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapta iha surottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha. Okay. You want to try, Michael? Manye krishnam cha ramam cha prapto iha surottamo suranam mahat arthaya gargasya vachanam yatha. Good try, thank you. Yeah. We'll decide word to word meaning. Manye, I think. Krishnam, Krishna. Cha, and. Ramam, Balarama. Cha, and. Praptao, obtained. Iha, on this planet. Sura, of the demigods. Uttamo, two of the most elevated. Suranam, demigods. Mahat, great. Arthaya, for a purpose. Gargasya, of the sage Garga. Vachanam, the statement. Yatha, as. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In my opinion, Krishna and Balaram must be two exalted demigods who have come to this planet to fulfill some great mission of the demigods. Such was the forbidden by Garga Rishi. There is no purport for this. We'll go for 24. Translation. After all, Krishna and Balram killed Kamsa, who was as strong as 10,000 elephants, as well as the wrestlers Charnura and Mustika, and the elephant Kuvaya Pida. They killed them all they killed them as sportingly, as easily as a lion disposes of a small animal. Purport. Here, Nanda means to say, not only did Gargamuni declare that these boys are divine, but just see what they have done. Everything is talking about. Short purport has. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastyatyadesh Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anantakoti Vaishnavandaki Jai. So, once again I'll read the translation for the text 23. In my opinion, Krishna and Balram must have been two exalted demigods who have come to this planet to fulfill some great mission of the demigods, such as foretold by Garga Rishi. So here we see the context and just trying to explain what happened before. Uddhav was a most dear friend of Lord Krishna. When he visited Vrindavan to convey the message to their parents, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, and the young gopis of Vrindavan. When Nanda Maharaj received, last week we discussed, Nanda Maharaj received the Uddhav and he welcomed him and gave nice hospitality and done the necessities. Then Nanda Maharaj asking the welfare of the Krishna Balram, and in that context, Nanda Maharaj was remembering all kinds of pastimes which Krishna and Balram performed, where we see this previous text. When we see the places where Mukunda enjoyed his sporting pastimes, the river hills and the forests he decorated with his feet, our mind become totally absorbed in him. So Nanda Maharaj is kind of remembering what kind of pastimes, what kind of activities are performed by Krishna and Balram. In the Bhagavad Gita, we see Krishna instruct Arjuna that Janma, Karma, what is his birth, Karma activity. If one who chants, one who recites regularly, remembers them regularly, he will not get again birth in this material world. So Krishna here we see indirectly declaring that this material world is a place of Dukkhalaya means where miseries. When you go to the Grandhalaya, there is a word called Grandhalaya. There's a library. When you go to the library, you find all books. And there is another word called Bhojanalaya, where you find food, where all the foods are kept. And this place is called Dukkhalaya, where all the miseries are available. It's even though you don't want it, miseries will come upon you. It's called Dukkhalaya, where the miseries are forced upon you. For example, one may say, I don't have any misery, but birth, death, old age, disease, these are all the basic misery. You will uh, not able to escape from this. Even though one may say, I am rich, he cannot say that I will not get disease. He will get disease and he will get old age. If you are poor, still you have to go through this disease, old age, and ultimately death. If you are rich or if you are poor, if you are American, if you are Indian, no matter whatever you have to go through this. There is no escapism from this miseries. This is the basic miseries. And there is another kind of miseries, Adhyatmik, Adidaivik, and Adibhautik, which is one is causes from one's own mind, and another is causing from nature, whether demigods or like we see that classic example is tsunami, coronavirus, and another thing is called Adhyatmik, Adidaivik, and Adibhautik, causing miseries from other living entities. Srila Prabhupada says, one example, so, like even though if you are sitting and a mosquito comes and bites you, or fly or bug comes and bites you, that is also miseries from other living entities. Maybe a misery from an animal, maybe a misery from insect, maybe a misery from other person. So these kinds of miseries are forced upon you. So in to escape from these miseries, to overcome or to some an intelligent persons will take to the process, will think that how I can get rid of these miseries. For them, the remedy is Janma karamachame divyam evam yoviti tatvata. Taktva deham punarjanma naiti mamitsu arjuna. So one should get absorbed in hearing pastimes of the Lord, remembering the pastimes of the Lord. Then at the end, Krishna is assuring that you will not take birth again in this material world. So this is simple. So to understand this tattvataha, in truth, we need to study the scriptures thoroughly and hear regularly classes and inquire from questions from spiritual master or Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru, whomever it may be. Then you will understand the real pastimes of the Lord. Then you will be able to get rid of from this material world. So here in today's text 23, Nanda Maharaj explains that, in my opinion, Krishna and Balram were two exalted demigods who have come to this planet to fulfill some great missions of the demigods. So, one sense, it is true, Lord Krishna and Balram are descended this material world to fulfill the mission of the demigods. But Krishna is not one of the demigod, but he came to fulfill the demigod's mission. The demigod's mission is to annihilate the miscreants, or duskrina, in one sense, or in another sense, demonic people. In the Bhagavad Gita again says that paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So, every millennium, Krishna appears to destroy the demons and to protect the devotees. That is foretold by Garga Muni Rishi. So, this is the Garga Muni Rishi's prediction and also astrological calculation. We see that these great people, rishis, they could able to predict the uh, future of the child. We see that in the case of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada was also born, and when they made astrological chart of the according to birth time, astrological chart will be made. So this child is born so and so date, so and so time, so and so place. Accordingly, they will calculate. They will able to tell future. So what this child is going to be, and how this child future is going to be. So Srila Prabhupada also, when he was born, priest told him at the age of 60, 70, this child will be traveling all over the world. And it has happened. That's why we are all here in the ISKCON. So Srila Prabhupada has traveled west, and he established the movement, and he established many temples. So that we are seeing now presently. So these great rishis have the clear consciousness, and they follow strict rules and regulations. That's why they're able to predict the future of the child. Nowadays we see there are some genuine astrological people, and there are some people who practice these kind of things, but most of them are for money. They say that okay, your future is uh, something like you'll have all kinds of, you'll have miseries, you'll have happiness, and you will get this much money, you will get this much loss. They will tell your future, but they will not be clear, because their consciousness is not clear. The practice of spiritual life is not clear. When you practice spiritual life, when your consciousness is clear, you are able to tell a person's future very clearly. And they say that okay, you have this kind of miseries coming upon your life. To escape that misery, you need to do this kind of, this so-called ritualistic activities, so-called yajna, so-called pujas, so-called this charity. Then you can able to escape from these miseries. Yeah, right. But sometimes we see even though they had done it, but they were not able to escape from those kind of miseries. Why? Because the astrologer, whoever is predicting that kind of future, his consciousness is not clear. One time, a great saint, you must have known Chanika Pandit. You must have heard, right? Chanika Pandit. He was a great astrologer, he was a great politician, and he was a great, whatever called, great Brahmana at the time. So a person came to him and he wants to learn astrology. So he asked him to teach astrology. So that person he said that I want to become your student because I want to learn astrology. Then Chanika Pandit took a ball and threw it in the air, and when he threw it in the air and it came down, then Chanika Pandit asked him, "Did you are you able to count how many circles that ball have turned?" Then that person was shocked. How we can say, if I throw a ball in the air, will you able to tell me how much circles the ball have spinned? Nobody able to tell. Then Chanika Pandit told, if you can able to tell that, then only you are qualified to learn the astrology. So that means you should be that much sharp to learn the astrology. So how we can able, you should able to tell when I throw a ball in the air. So how many circles it is how many RPS, like how many circles it have turned in the air before hitting the ground. So that is the consciousness we should have. And also we see in the case of um, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, His Holiness, Bhakti Siddhanta, so His Divine Grace, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. He would able to tell prediction just by seeing your face, or just by hand catching your hand. He just sees your hand, and he will tell, okay, you are going to happen this immediately. So that kind of he clear consciousness he has, and also moreover he's pure devotee. And on top of that, he has studied Surya Siddhanta. Surya Siddhanta means the book which is tells you uh, how to what is the astrology and how to learn astrology, how to tell astrology for a person. It has all the kind of instruction on that. It's called Surya Siddhanta, that book. If you study that book, you will be able to tell anybody's future. To study that book, you need to understand Sanskrit very well. You should be a scholar in that. So one time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to tell the brahmachari, he used to catch hold of brahmachari's hand and tell that, oh, you are going to get married, so make arrangements. So if for brahmacharis, you should tell astrology, getting marriage is something, off the, he will feel awkward. So he will immediately catch the hands and will tell, okay, you have these many habits, so you are not fit for the brahmachari ashram. In that way, whenever Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was sitting in front of him, everybody used to fold their hands and walk like this, so that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj couldn't tell their astrology. Or most of the times they would serve the Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj in some way or the other, whether they're getting water for him, or whether cleaning the floor, or whether serving him in kind prasadam. In that way, they were always busy, so that Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj couldn't catch their hand and see. If you are walking empty hands, immediately he will catch your hand. He will tell, "Oh, you are having so many desires, so get something like that." So that's why. My point is that, see, Gargamuni is so sharp, so he could able to tell the future. So this kind of things, remembering by Nanda Maharaj, he would able to tell how Gargamuni at the time of name giving ceremony, he has already told these two exalted um, boys are going to create some wonderful activities, wonderful feats. Like Krishna and Balaram, they killed all the demons and all kind of what you call miseries they overcome. So in the next one also we see in the purport, in translation it says, after all, Krishna and Balaram killed Kamsa, who was as strong as 10,000 elephants, and as well as the wrestlers of Charuna Mustika. So they could able to. We cannot imagine one elephant killing a person nowadays. If you have a gun, you can kill. That is okay. Without having a gun, without having a weapon, you cannot kill an elephant. That is a wonderful art. You know, there is a, if you take like 20 or 50, 100 years ago, there are people from the tribal community, they will able to kill an elephant with an empty hands. They just with the bare hands, without any weapons, they could able to kill only one elephant. But here we see Kamsa is not an equal to one elephant. He is an equal to 10,000 elephants. Imagine a person who's possessing 10 kind of 10 kind of strength, having elephant. You cannot imagine also. You see, you take any kind of you see modern wrestlers, WWF, whatever you call, WWE, WWF. You know, you cannot imagine a person 6 feet tall. He doesn't possess 10,000 elephant strength. But here we see Kamsa is equivalent to 10,000 elephant strength. A person is equal to 10,000 elephants. Then imagine who kills that person, how much strength he possesses. So, and that is one thing. And also Charuna and Mustika. These are also two great persons and great wrestlers, and they are also equally strength as 10,000 elephant. And another thing, elephant Kuvaya Pida. We didn't we only heard the name elephant Kovayapida in the Bhagavatam. We didn't hear anything like that outside of Bhagavatam scriptures. How does it Kovayapida looks like, and what is the strength it carries? To to get just an idea, we have modern thing is called dinosaurs. Everybody must have known dinosaurs. So that will be the size of one elephant, Kubayapida. It has a long structure, huge structure, and it looks like exactly like an elephant. It's like exactly like an elephant, but the height and the weight size is like a dinosaur. So, and they are also strength, and he killed the Krishna, and they just killed as a sportingly, as easily as a lion disposes an animal. If you ask a lion to kill some a rabbit or a rat or something small animal, it doesn't have to take that much energy. It just puts one hand, that's it, kill. It got killed. So even it no need to do so much endeavor for that. So these are all the things we should understand and deeply, and we should discuss. Then we will come to know tattvataha. That's called truth. In truth, we can understand this one. So now we see the commentaries given by other acharyas. We see the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. They gave their commentary on this particular verse. So I will just read the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments. By the sudden recollection of Krishna as a Lord, in contrast to his natural production of affection in separation, Nanda speaks with a sense of discrimination. These two sons have appeared in my house by the good fortune of myself and Vasudeva for the welfare of the Devatas, such as killing Kamsa and other demons. This is according to profound words of Garga. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments in a similar way. It's the same thing what we heard in the translation. These two boys is appeared in the house of Nanda Maharaj of the great fortune. It says that to have a one son, the parent should perform great, uh, what you call pious deeds to have a one son. It is a calculation that in a Manu Samhita, to have a one son, you must have digged X number of wells. You must have done, you must have sowed the trees, so many trees, and you must have done pious activities, many things. Then only you will beget a one son. If that into two times, you will get a two sons. To have a one son, these great pious activities must done. So, Shri Kishore Kishori Jagannath Baldev Subhadrama Gaunita Bhaksiddhan Saraswati Goswami Shri Prabhupada. So that's that much pious deeds you must have performed, then you will get a one child, one son. And having a Krishna and Balram as a son, then it is out of them doing pious activities. It should be the great, it should be the what you call, you should be a Nitya Siddha, and you should be the eternal servant of the Lord. Then only you will get a Krishna and Balram as your son. And Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, they have performed a severe austerity for many lifetimes. Then only they got to beget a son to have a Krishna and Balram as their son. And what we will see what Srila Jiva Goswami comments. Nanda again recollects Krishna's power, hoping to cover his weakness, since his fear that if he suddenly manifests his sweet form and strength, his heart it will become cease of suffering because of his affection arising from thinking him as a son. So sometimes separation, if you love so much a person, if you are in separation, what you can do? There is no other way. Like a person is on the other side of the globe. You are here. If you lose, like you are in so much separation of him. So what naturally it is a natural phenomenon that you remember the activities when you were associated with him. Oh, my friend, when we used to go to this park, we used to visit this. We used to play this. It's a natural phenomenon that you don't have to do artificially. It just naturally comes up when you love a person, or if you are a friend missing from a long time. If you remember him, naturally you remember his activities. Similarly, Nanda Maharaj also remembering the activities which are performed, which not only that activities which are mundane, material. When we do, it will become material. We also remember our dear friend or our dear ones, but it is material. Sometimes we don't feel the taste. But Krishna, Balram, when they perform the activities, like lifting Govardhan hill, killing the chastising the Kalya, killing the other demons, it gives them a deeper pleasure, deeper happiness and satisfaction. And not only that, he was absorbed. That is the main point here. So again, whatever the sufferings they have, sufferings from separation, it somehow or the other it gets uh, what you call coped up with the suffering, because they are all intense sufferings. So that suffering will get coped up, what you call overcome. We can overcome. He speaks to his power with the desire of glory him as a natural result of special affection rising from separation. That is described in the fourth verse. I think that two boys, Krishna and Balaram, are great persons equal to Narayana, who have made appearance of the being born in my house. This statement's expression of Nanda and his natural internal affection for Krishna and Balaram as their sons. So it is internal affection, one thing, and also prediction of the Garga Muni. And now Jiva Goswami says that Nanda Maharaj is saying that they are equal to Narayana. So because Krishna covers through his potency Yogamaya, covers the consciousness of Nanda Maharaj, that so that the natural flow of affection should not disturb. If he reveals that he is a supreme personality of Godhead, obviously the service and the reciprocation will not be there as a parental. Like if you come to know that this person is a supreme lord, you have treated him like as your friend, then naturally from that point your exchanges, your dealings will be entirely different, right? As we see in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna showed opulent form, that is Virata Rupa, then naturally Arjuna felt so sorry for the dealings which has happened with previously. He deals with the Krishna as a friend. They used to have chit chat with the together. They used to Arjuna put his hand around the shoulder of Krishna. These dealings were going on in the form of Sakya Rasa, friendship mood. But as soon as as he saw that that Krishna is not his friend, ordinary person, he's a supreme lord, then immediately his dealings were different, his talkings were different. So to not happen that with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, so Krishna covered his consciousness. Because if Krishna doesn't cover the consciousness, Mother Yashoda and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj would take Krishna on the altar and worship them every day. Like we do deity worship, they would have worshipped them very nicely. They would have given them as they would have treated them as Supreme Lord, but they don't have any affection. We don't have any affection. We don't do that kind of affection to the deities, especially because we are not in that level. One time, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, a lady disciple, asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I want to feed Krishna baby food. Is it okay with you? Then Prabhupada said, no, you are not supposed to do that, because you are not in the stage of Mother Yashoda. Because Mother Yashoda got eternal place in the Golok Vrindavandam. Her love is different from our love. We also have the affection, but we should follow Pancharatrika Vidhi, which is described in the deity worship, how to do deity worship. Narada Pancharatrika Vidhi, which describe how to do deity worship, what are the things you should offer, what are the things you should not offer. So this baby food which disciple was asking, she is saying that, "Wow, I treat Krishna as my baby, that's why I want to food baby food." Prabhupada said, no, you cannot do that. So when you do something like that, then it creates disturbance in the deity worship, and not only disturbance in the deity worship, but the mood will be different. We are not always in the same mood. Our because always we are in the modes of material nature, going sometimes mode of goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. So we are not in the Nitya Siddha state. So Srila Prabhupada clearly mentioned that offering should be done how much a boy, 17 years old boy, will eat. That much offering should be done, and all the kinds of offering should be done, like uh, what you call morning offering, afternoon offering, and the regular timings should be done. So that is the prescription of the Shastras. It is said in the scriptures, Narada, not nectar of devotion, I guess. Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Vina Anaitika Harir Bhakti Utpata Eva Kalpate. So when you don't follow Smriti, scriptures, and Smriti, whatever the Acharyas has described, when you don't follow Anaitika Harir Bhakti, if you do something out of the way by your own, Utpata Eva Kalpate, it will create only havoc in the process. So that's why we should follow whatever our acharyas have described. And so that is the process Srila Prabhupada has given us. So we should follow that, because when we follow our acharya's mood, then only mercy comes. If you follow that, as Mataji, the Prabhupada disciple, she said that I want to have a food which is baby food to Krishna. Today you like to have baby food. Tomorrow something else may come up. So tomorrow you think that, oh, Krishna might hungry in the night, 12 o'clock you wake up the deities and get the milk. No, usually it happens, right? Parents, they'll take care of their baby. Sometimes baby cries in the middle of the night due to some reason. We don't know. Immediately mother gets up, whatever, she finds the reason what is the crying for the baby having stomach pain. So it will create that kind of havoc if you do the same thing the deities. So we should not follow that, and we should follow the what our acharyas prescribed. Then only we'll have mercy. One time Srila Prabhupada installed a deity, uh, Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai. So disciples, it was early stage, early in the movement. So disciples, they thought that Jagannath Baldev Subhadra must have, feeling bored all the time in the altar. We can take them into the park. They took the Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in the altar. They took off from the altar. They put it on in the car and took for the park to just get a ride. They feel so much, what you call. Uh, Affection for the deities. They feel that, okay, deities must have been bored. Uh, Let them take to the park. Then Prabhupada asked, where is Jagannath Baldev Subhadra? Then some of the other pujari told that, oh, the disciples, they took them to the park. They thought that deities must have felt bored all the time in the altar. No, you cannot do that. You cannot take deities whenever you need to the park. They feel that so affected that they feel that there's something is missing. The parental mood or friendship mood. They took the altar. No, you cannot do that. Srila Prabhupada told them there is a particular time where Jagannath goes to the street. It's called Ratha Yatra. So during the Ratha Yatra time, we can take Jagannath deities on the cart and we can take them the ride. So that is the mode we should have, but not in the car and take them to the ride. They must have it. No. So Srila Prabhupada always corrected. So we should also follow something what Shastras prescribed. So we'll see that again in the 24th verse was described by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami described They killed the wrestlers Charuna Mustika and an elephant who were as strong as 10,000 elephants, just as a lion kills other animal without effort. The same thing Sri Jiva Goswami described. And Sanatana Goswami also, similar to that, this was a suitable since he is just like a lion in relation to the other animals. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that Krishna is compared to the lion. If a lion wants to kill any animal, it is for him easy, no need to do any efforts. So these are the points we discussed today. So I'll just summarize what we have discussed. So Nanda Maharaj in the separation of Krishna and Balaram, when Uddhava comes to the Nanda Maharaj house. In the separation mood, he started recollecting the pastimes, wonderful activities done by the Krishna and Balaram. He thinks that there are the very great demigods, and to fulfill that mission of the demigods, they have descended here. And he was so absorbed, and he was in the absorption. He was crying He was crying. Tears were flowing from his eyes, and he was recollecting the activities where Krishna and Balaram killed the Kamsa and Chanura Mustika. They are equal to the 10,000 elephant strength, and also another elephant called Kovaya Pida. So, by this remembrance of pastimes and chanting the pastimes and glories of the Lord, we will not take birth again in this material world, because this material world is dukkhalayam. As Krishna declares, Janma karma chame devyam evam yo veti tattvataha tattva deham punarjanma naiti mamitsu arjuna. So we should always remembering the pastimes of the Lord and chant the glories of the Lord, and remember the activities which are performed, and then we can get rid of this material world so that we may not suffer again, and so that we can live eternally our life with the Goloka Vrindavan Dham. We can go back home, back to Godhead, where there is no miseries. Three kinds of miseries: Adhyatmik, Adidhaivik, Adibhautik, and birth, death, old age, and disease. These are all miseries which, independent of who you are, you cannot escape from these miseries. And where there is a Dham, Goloka, Vrindavan, or we may say back to Godhead, where we don't find these kind of miseries. Because a person natural constitutional position is to always be blissful, happiness, and joy mood. So that's a mood of that's the natural desire for the every living entity. Every living entity doesn't need miseries, doesn't need suffering, but we are forced upon that. Where in the back to Godhead, when the abode of the Lord, we don't find any kind of miseries, any kind of unhappiness, any kind of distress. We'll be always blissful and happy. That's why we see in the material world, everybody is trying to be happy in this material world, but it is not happening. It's not possible at all. Krishna himself declares, because he is a creator of this material world. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments, please ask. Otherwise, we'll close. Okay, we'll close. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Parimal.